take part in and share with some very, very creative, very thoughtful farmers who are graciously agreeing to host us for these public farm visits here. So it's a start of something very important, a process of discovery that I think is going to be useful for many of us. Basically what this is all about is learning and sharing with folks who are already doing some very creative, innovative practices and who have some very future-looking goals that they're trying to achieve at their farms and at their ranches. And the first part of the demonstration network up here is really showcasing people like our host this morning, John Teixeira, for what he's been doing and the thought and effort he's been putting into the soil care here at the farm and also the long-term vision that they have at Lone Willow Farm. So it involves also some other dimensions of learning, and that's going to be monitoring. So today, after we learn from what John is doing and what his goals are, we'll have an opportunity to do some citizen science and actually collect data and contribute to a database that could serve down the road to help us to track what is going on at this farm and others that we have as well. So the general plan, and I'll turn it over to John in a second here, is to welcome you all and thank you for driving great distances. Many of you came three and a half hours here to get here. This is it's a remote place, and that's for sure here, and you've seen that, but we thank you very much for that. John is going to talk in a minute about what he's doing, and we're going to walk with him over to the alfalfa on the other side of this bend over here, and just informal, just ask him questions as we go, pick his brains and learn, and he's going to show us what he's doing here. Then after that we'll have the discussion, and I'm going to encourage people to help out with some monitoring and some baseline information gathering that we'll work on together once we get over to the chairs and the table. So with that, I want to turn it, John is not only an outstanding farmer, he is a very generous friend that I've been lucky enough to know for many, many years. And he does an amazing job of helping with the UC Davis classes whenever we come down here in the fall. We always make this last stop in the Saturday field trip, and it never fails to amaze the students, and it's very kind what they've been doing here. So John Teixeira, thank you very much for this morning, and have at it here.
Let's kick it off. Well, good morning everyone, and I'm going to be bouncing around quite a bit. I'm glad that we have a few people here, and it's time at this time of the year. It's a lot going on. This is the Champion Ranch here. My landlord lives right there in the house, and so I'll back up, give you a little bit of history about Lone Willow Ranch. Lone Willow Ranch is a CCOF certified farm, and it's been certified for 25 years. We just entered into the Demeter, which is the biodynamic certification, for the last 2 years. And we have one field over here that's biodynamic Demeter approved, and you'll see some of the products that we're producing. We have 90 acres. I originally started with organic cotton 25 years ago. It's about the only thing I knew from the conventional world, so I said, yeah, I could do that. I know how to do that. And so got into that and got into organics and started doing a lot of things. The problem was it was easy to grow to a certain degree, but I had to figure out how to sell my product. And that was the hardest part. Couldn't find anyone that wanted to buy any organic cotton of any large amount. They didn't even know how to deal with it. So that was a real hard learning experience, and I had to try to be the salesman or the marketeer. And so I got the crop, got it harvested, put it in a bale, and so I hung around for a while. Met a lady, she now sold the company to an Indian company, but some of my first few cotton bales were air freighted to India to be processed organically. It was just a really kind of a 500-pound bale of cotton in the airplane going to India. So I said, the hell with that. That's too hard to do. So I got into some other things. I got into we did some processed basil for a company out of Turlock, and we were harvesting basil like 3-4 o'clock in the morning in tubs and get it to be flash frozen. And we did some cilantro and some other things, and then got into growing some heirloom tomatoes, and got in on the early stages of what that was a kind of a crazy event, and it was really successful in growing. And I had a partner, and then we kind of got into growing heirloom tomato seeds, and we had a collection of over 250 varieties of heirloom tomatoes. And I still plant about 40 or 50 different heirloom variety tomatoes right now for small little markets, and we make a salsa product that we started a couple years ago and then kind of fizzed, and we're going to try to get back into it, where we actually grow all the product that goes into the salsa, which is the onions, the peppers, and garlic, on a real small scale. And got into that for several years. I had a little small CSA quite a few years ago before it really took off here, and that was a lot of work. And tried a lot of different things, grew a lot of different crops, and then about 7-8 years ago, I took a trip to Vermont and met some people. Heather Darby, PH agronomist, she was on the board of Organic Farming Research, and I was also on that board, so I was able to see what was going on the East Coast. It seems like the East Coast kind of starts a few things and it kind of dribbles back, goes west for some reason. And so it was really a kind of a fun time over there, checking out with Heather and seeing some things being oils being pressed, and some different wheat varieties and a whole bunch of stuff. And then I wanted to get into livestock. I was born on a dairy, and I said, well, hell, I got to start raising some animals. So the first animal I raised, I'd never been around, was goats. So I started raising goats, and I had started out with 5 goats, milking it by hand before I went to work, and that was crazy. Just a lot of work. So I'm up to now about 30 some dairy goats, and what we're doing now is taking that milk. I thought I wanted to be a cheesemaker. Really liked that. It was just really, I like to eat the cheese, and it was just a lot of fun. But man, it's too expensive. It's all the California regulations. So what the hell am I gonna do with all this milk? So I said, well, I gotta start raising pigs. So we got into some pigs, played around with a couple of varieties, English Spot, and we settled out with a cross between a Tamworth and a Berkshire. And so we have some heritage pork, pastured pork being raised, and we might be able to see them as we walk over here. And so the problem with the livestock, they're just like you and I. They got to eat every day, and that's the real challenge. I'm kind of independently inclined, so I had to start raising all my grain and feed for my animals. And then I had to bring in a cow, and so I have a couple of cows, and I got chickens and everything. So I have the full spectrum. We did some turkeys for a while. That was kind of best tasting turkeys, but man, they are hard to raise. They are really hard to raise. So what we did, so I had to figure out how to raise this feed for these livestock, and so about that time, I think I met Rob, and I got a wild idea, so we started working with a few programs, and so I started growing my crops for my livestock. And that was really kind of a challenge, because I wanted to grow these ancient grains. So we're growing, and we have a display on the table. They were growing some Sonora, Ethiopian emmer, and I just found out, and someone in here needs to help me. It's not kamut, it's kamut. Is it kamut? The T is silent. So I found this out from a guy down in Los Osos, Caranian Farms, I think it is. He told me yesterday, because I got a person that wants to buy a ton of wheat that I need to figure out how to get it to Northern California to a bakery. So these grains are really, really impressive. They're ancient and they've been around for a long time. They have more protein, they assimilate more minerals from the soil because they have a bigger root system, and they just are really dynamite, and you'll be able to see some of them. Okay, so this ranch here is 52 acres, is a 16, a 12, and a 23. And we're pretty unique right here because that's the San Joaquin River right there. And the San Joaquin River is the river that comes out of the Sierras, and it's the only river in California that runs north. And so we have that as a background, and you can hear all the wildlife as we're talking here. We have hawks, we have skunks, we have foxes, and we have all kinds. So in some of my requirements for biodynamic farming, you have to have biodiversity. So you got to have something growing around your ranch everywhere. So it's pretty unique. And so as we walk, we'll see some of my biodiversity, but you can see that's our south edge of our property that we rent, and the trees there then go into the river. We have incredible diversity, and we have honeybee hives. We do about 15 to 25 gallons of honey a year, and it's really diverse and dynamic honey. It's got a lot of minerals because there's something flowering down this river all the time, except for maybe December, January when it's just really too cold. So we're trying to work with more nature as possibly as we can. And in the biodynamic world, we have to we have a limit of amount of nitrogen that we can bring into this farm. We cannot bring in more than 50% of our nitrogen. We got to produce it on farm. So that's one of the segments that we have to realize is the livestock has to produce a lot of our nutrients. And I'll get into a little bit more about that as we show and tell as we go. So my goals, one of my main goals is to be self-sufficient in providing most of my NPKs for my ranch and not bring in any other excessive product, fertilizers. We're doing biodynamic 500, which is horn manure. I have my horns down. I'm going to be digging those up here. We use biodynamic 501, which is silica. Those two are required to be sprayed on your property to become Demeter. And this year I'll have all my whole ranch, which is 90 acres, will be certified CCOF and Demeter biodynamic. So that's a really kind of a different world. A lot of people don't know what biodynamics is. And it's really becoming really popular right now. It seems to be really, really being turned on by the younger generation for some reason. It's really, really big in Northern California in the wine industry. And I went to a biodynamic conference and met Kelly there, and he talked about grazing. So it's happening. It's really happening. So it's really kind of neat. Okay. Any questions? Just to kind of let me catch my breath, and we'll take a little walk. We'll wait for Jeff because he's probably trying to shoot in a few other people to come in here. We're kind of middle out of nowhere, and I really like it.
John, I got a question for you. You know, I've heard of biodynamic farming for a while, but I didn't know there was a certification entity set up, and so in order to use their label, sort of like certified organic, you have to have the third-party inspection. Can you?
Okay, the Demeter's office is out of Oregon for United States. What's his name? Damn it. It's really interesting. Demeter is not controlled by the government in their certification. They do their own thing, where the organics are controlled by the government.
USDA's
standards,
yeah.
Biodynamics has nothing to do with it. I think that's why a lot of people are going there. Because it's their own, they're doing their own thing. They're internationally also. Rudolf Steiner, biodynamics started in 1929 or something right in there. And so they're on their own. They control their own destiny. They're having growing pains like crazy right now. There's a lot of application. There's a lot of people want to go into biodynamics. They like the economics of it. the holistic. There's a lot more to it, and it's really becoming very popular. So you can look at Google Demeter. I hope that answers you kind of to a certain degree.
But you still feel like you would want the organic certification as well, because you said you'd be dual certified?
Yeah, unless CCOF pisses me off, then I'll go the other way, which is close. CCOF, I've been around. I've been certification chair for Fresno, Tulare, Madera, and Kings County years ago. I've been a board rep and president of the chapter. I've been involved with that, the politics of CCOF. It's taken off. It's really growing. It's extremely growing a lot right now. It's really taken off. A lot of organics. They're really big. I call them the government now. And so I just kind of want to go into the biodynamics, because I think it's where I'm at in my life.
But do you think there's buyers for whom the Demeter certification wouldn't be adequate, and that's why you still want to?
The biodynamic market is big right now. There's not enough product, and there's not enough organic product for CCOF either.
Yeah.
The growing percentage of organic product is really crazy. I'm hearing stories where Costco has even gone to great lengths now to try to help farmers buy land just to grow organics for them. Yeah, Andrew Williams, Andrew Williams, San Diego, bought 1,200-acre ranch in Mexico. It was partly funded by Costco, and so there's things happening, and so there's also plenty of government money and funds for beginning farmers, which I think is really good, and that's what I try to help the young and new growers, to get them through their hard part of learning how to do some of these things, which is really challenging. Okay, so let's go for a walk, I guess. How are we doing on time? You're good. 10:30. Okay, we got to move. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, one of the goals is part of my goals is to be able to produce my nitrogen and my nutrients for my crops, and try not to bring anything. And so one of my cash crops, and also the crops for my animals, is this 12 acres of alfalfa. So this is an end result of, after a couple of years of the grazing, that I want to start rotational wise. And the challenges I have is Johnson grass, and how do you get rid of it in an organic state. And in the grazing pattern I'm trying to work with, I'm hoping to be able to try to control it. Eliminate it, I don't think I'll ever do it, but chemically I don't think you can either. So we're trying to work with this alfalfa field. Has been in, this is I think 3rd or 4th year alfalfa. I wanted to cut it a couple days ago, but it's going to rain tomorrow, the next day, so it's like rolling dice. Always making a decision. So this alfalfa here, last year was, every cutting we'd put on a ton or so of compost that we produce, and irrigate, and then cut and compost. It's kind of, I didn't get a chance to put it on it because it's been a kind of a wet spring, but it's kind of got some hot spots and you can really see it. And we're probably going to take this out and put another field. I just haven't figured out where I'm going to put the alfalfa in. But so we're trying to, this here would grow another cash crop. It could be melons, I don't know, dry beans we do field corn, barley, wheat, and black seeded sunflower seed for seed, and we try to do a little bit of culinary oil. I've seen it done on the East Coast, but I haven't got that figured out yet. So we grow all those products. I've had to buy a little bit of organic barley, but I have not bought any feed commodities for my livestock in several years. I have to buy some seaweed, Pacific Pearl shells for the chickens, and that's basically all I have to buy. So I don't try to bring anything. I want to produce it here on this farm. We have a tremendous, amazing life in the soil, the earthworms. That's what I'm trying to do, is feed them, let them do it. I'm trying to use what is here and put them to work. I think that's what it is in the future, is to be able to work with what you have, because if you have to go buy stuff, it's a real challenge in economics. So, okay, let's go for a little walk around here. I can break even. I'm a happy camper, and I got food in my belly and a house over my head. I'm happy. This is not just for everyone. It's a little more challenging. This on a large scale would be really interesting. The economics of it is, I have a cash crop. Alfalfa, I can get about 6 tons to the acre, I think, a year. Anywhere from, the price is down right now, $150 to $200 organic. My cost, I don't think I have $500 an acre on it. I have to pay my cash rent about $200, labor, so I think I'm making a profit. What amount and what's the difference of it? I don't have that. That would be just a complicated study. I mean, it would be a really big challenge. All right. Okay, so we have this kind of strip here that kind of goes along the alfalfa field, and as you can hear, and you might be able to see, the honeybees, bumblebees, crickets. Crickets need 55 degrees before they can start making noises, and so they never shut up till it cools off. The alfalfa, as you can see, as it's starting to fizz out, we got some gaps, and we got Johnson grass. The Johnson grass is a real big challenge to get rid of. What the pigs do for me is they love to root it, and the varieties that we have are conducive to grazing and rooting, and they're really good. They really take care of what's going on here, and so they really don't play around and eat the Johnson grass in the summertime. It's when the frost comes, it kills the plant, and the sugars go back into the rhizomes, roots. They love it. It's candy. And they love it that time. And so the whole winter we try to put them in fields where they can graze and root. They make big holes. And these Tamworth and Berkshire crosses, they love to root.
Could you talk a little bit about your market for your livestock products?
Okay, so, and they're eating everything. And they're kind of picky. They like the Dundale peas because they're already potted when we put them in there, so they're really getting good protein, and I really like that. Dundale peas.
Dundale?
Dundale and Landock Vetch are from Australia. They're more of an arid. They don't need very much water. Okay, so you can see that we got these in borders. We started out originally, there goes a squirrel. We started out in 30-inch rows, and it just didn't work, so we started doing 30-foot borders, and the borders are working better for us. I think the rows was kind of tough on the older pigs going over those rows all the time. So the borders, I think, is better on their feet. So we have the sows are over here, and these are my stockers are right here. They could be inside there somewhere, or underneath the trailer. It's getting like they already had their breakfast, so they're probably taking a little nap. But eventually, when we get done with this session, you guys can actually walk around all that whole road and see them, and take a look and see a better view. It's a pretty nice walk over there. So we had all this feed in here. You can see where they don't like the thistles. So what we do, and you'll see as we get over there, we use to graze the pigs, and then we bring the goats, and the goats take pretty much everything down to the ground and really get.
So what is your goal here?
Goal to eat pig. Get good tasty meat.
Raising pigs?
Yeah, to get some good tasty pork. We have we have exclusive. We deliver dressed out 225 to 275 pigs. All they're offal. We take them to Berkeley to a butcher shop, and we take them 4 at a time and back to pick up, ice down, and they're USDA slaughtered, and that's my cash crop. But it takes 1 year from the time that sow's bred to that piglet is born, weaned, and raised, it takes about 1 year to get them up to that 300, 325 live weight, and then dressed out about 225 to 250, 275. They have about, I would say 3/4 to 1 inch of fat. And with feeding them the milk, we have a following in that butcher store that people are waiting for our pigs because of the flavors. It's pretty incredible, and I didn't believe it until I see it. The lard in that cavity and everything is so more wider, firmer lard. It's pretty amazing. It's just really, really flavorful.
And so you're growing these natural growing
Cover crops
cover crops, yeah.
to build soil and then feed, and also we let these crops grow and let them kind of almost go to seed, so they'll shatter a little bit, and we'll have feed the next year also.
And so, are you growing other crops for sale? Or
Yes, cash crop would be alfalfa, and we do some grain, and then we do dry beans behind it, or a cash crop of cantaloupes or melons.
how does that relate to the pigs? Or is that
Well, we harvest the grain, the beans. We run the pigs behind them, let them graze, and then also we try to utilize all what we grow for the livestock. Whatever leftover waste is fed to the livestock.
So you're making money off of the crops and you're making money off the pigs. So
Yes.
it's
Kind of what's the whole
holistic system.
yes, that's the goal.
And what kind of crop is this out here again?
This is a cover crop. It's winter. You missed out on earlier. Winter rye.
This is winter rye.
Bell beans were in here. Dundale pea. Landock vetch. I forgot daikon. Dwarf Essex rape. And some volunteer barley and wheat.
How many acres of?
This is 16 acres, this strip right here.
And that's where you have your cows. Your pigs right now.
The pigs are right in here. They're right in here.
Okay.
All right. Okay, let's go back over that way.
Are you planning to put any crops here, or?
What we'll do, we'll plant a summer to stay alive. There's not been no water here all winter long. Just rainfall. And
Oh, look, they're all coming for food.
yeah, you guys got a handout. Okay, so we got to make a, because I know Jeff's got a pretty good segment. Okay, this table shows a little bit of everything that we are out here in the fields growing. And then also, we've taken it to another step. We do our dry beans. We do our ancient grains. This shows you the seed. I mean, this shows you the seed. This shows you the plant that's heading out. This shows you the flower after it's been harvested. And this is where we've taken it to the ultimate. This is our homegrown pasta made out of this grain grown right here. So we do dry beans. That's just 2 of about 6 different varieties. Kamut, and here shows you they're heading out right here. And then we do a little bit of garbanzos. So we have the Ethiopian emmer pasta, and then we have the Sonora pasta. And this shows you the seed, shows you the plant, and then the pasta. This is a new product we're doing. It's called Karma Purple Barley, land raised from Nepal. It's just gorgeous. Look at that.
Can I pick it up?
Yeah, sure. And then here's a little bit. This is called Persian clover. Have you ever heard of Persian clover? We have that. I like that thing. It's tougher. It's tough, but it's a hard seed, so it's going to germinate next 20.
Sell that to people, the Persian clover?
No, but I sell the pasta.
Where can we find the pasta?
So that's what you make it out of. I get it.
Oh no. The clover is the cover crop.
Okay.
This is the grain.
Yeah.
This is seed. This is the plant, a Sonora, and then this is the pasta, the finished product.
What stores
Oh.
can we find the pasta in?
What?
Are they in stores?
It's really weird. Fresno area, they don't start buying pasta till the fall for the winter.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have you ever seen this Persian clover?
Yeah.
We've started. It's a really pretty flower. We have yellow sweet clover. This is the rye. This is a burr clover. It's out there, which has been around. We didn't have to plant it. It showed up. And then this is the Dundale kale. This is the dwarf Essex rape. Really good protein for young livestock. They love this. And then this is the bell bean. This is the dwarf Essex flowering out for seed. And then the crimson clover is just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful flower. So that kind of gives it, and it's Jeff's show.
No. My question is here. And a quick introduction. John Teixeira, this is Michael Crow.
Hey, Michael, how's it going? Good.
Sorry about getting here late.
That's all right.
It's,
Those things happen to me.
No.
That's all right. It's cool. I do it all the time.
Cheryl, go ahead. Come on.
So almost all of those are legumes. There was a couple you mentioned that aren't, but the legumes, those are your nitrogen source to build your soil health. Is
Yes.
that correct?
Yes.
And I know that one of the projects we've worked on is intercropping. We're actually planting the leguminous cover crop right into your cash crop to help feed it nitrogen.
My wheat over there has that, the crimson clover in it, and then also my barley at the other ranch has it right now, and I'll show you how to go by and look at that if anybody wants to see that. That was a great project, and I go, this is gonna work? Is it gonna rob the nitrogen from the barley or anything? It doesn't. And I've asked Jeff, you sure?
Add nitrogen?
Well, yeah. Well, see, I thought that by growing the barley crop and that the legume might suck too much nitrogen from the barley crop and affect the yield. It's not. So it's a great project.
I'm thinking a 15-foot would be way too stuff. But you don't have open spaces like this, do you? We do. Oh, I thought you